Hi, this is Mr. B, where I talk about finance and help the average person navigate the financial world that we live in. First, I'd like to talk about Bitcoin, and I mine Bitcoin, and I love cryptocurrency. So there's something that's come up, and a lot of people don't understand it really. So every 4 years, Bitcoin, the mining rewards halve. So basically, the amount of rewards that you can get from mining divide into half. So for instance, right now they're 6.25, and they're going to go to 3.125. Now, and when you mine, you get transaction fees. Of course, if it's a crappy mining pool, they don't give you transaction fees. But when you mine, you get transaction fees. So people are like, well, what happens when the mining reward goes from 6 to 3 to 1.5 to 0.75 to almost nothing over the matter of the next 20 years? And then there's some people who say, well, the network will be weak and people won't want to mine anymore, and et cetera, et cetera. However, there's a couple points to think about here. One is that so far, Bitcoin has basically doubled on average. If you look at the yearly low instead of the yearly high, it's averaged 100%. It's doubled every single year since its inception in 2009. So probably that wouldn't be a problem because 0.5 of Bitcoin is worth much more than 3 Bitcoin. So as the halving goes, it'll probably be okay. But when the mining reward gets to like 0.35, 0.035 of Bitcoin or something like that, it may seem like not too much, even though by that time it'll probably be worth $100,000 or something. But something happened this year which showed us what's going to happen. So for instance, when I mine Bitcoin, when I hit a block with my other people in the pool, we share 6 Bitcoin between 7,000 people. And usually we get about 6.4, which is 6.25, which is the block reward. And then we get another 0.2 or 0.25. It averages around 0.2, 0.3 from transaction fees. Now, what's happened this year is really interesting because all of a sudden we were getting 12 Bitcoin for each reward. And so all the miners are like, wow, this is great. What's going on? So what happened was the transaction fees increased. So, and it wasn't just one block. It was many blocks over many days. And it's calmed down a bit, but they're still quite high. So we're getting 8 block reward, 8 Bitcoin reward, 12, 11, 9, 7. It hasn't gone down. It hasn't gone back yet, and it's been days, and it still remains relatively high. So I figured that the transaction fees would compensate for the block reward over a period of maybe 10, 15 years away. But it seems like it's going to hit much sooner because people like to say, 20% of people have Bitcoin and this and that. But in reality, there's 30,000 wallets. And I have probably 5 wallets. So that's not even 10 million people, right? Sorry, did I say 30,000? I meant 30 million. So there's basically 30 million wallets with Bitcoin inside them. There's way more than that. There's probably 1 billion wallets, I think. But people who have Bitcoin inside the wallet, there's 30 million. Now I have Bitcoin inside at least 4 or 5 wallets. So if in a real statistic, there's less than 10 million people who have Bitcoin. So it's very, very early adoption, very early adoption. Whatever numbers you hear are wrong. It's way less than 5%. It's probably way less than 1%. So when things get rolling, there'll be a lot of transaction fees, even if we're using layer 2s like Lightning Network and things like that. And most of the transactions happen off the network, like something like Verse or Lightning. Even with those layer 2s, the amount of transactions on the network are going to be enough for the miners to keep mining. So you're still going to have miners being profitable, and they're still going to be protecting the network because it's more than likely that after the next halving, not this one here in 2024, not this one where it's going to go to 3.125, but the one following that, it looks like the one following that, which will be 0.15 basically, 0.16, Sorry, it'll be 1.6. So it'll be 1 Bitcoin. It looks like by that time, the transaction fees will almost equal the block reward. And it'll still be worth it because I can see Bitcoin doubling for the next 30 years, not just the next 10, but it's going to be doubling. So by the time we get to 1 Bitcoin per block reward, a Bitcoin will probably be worth $1 million, and that will be in like about 10 years. So say the next two halvings, Bitcoin's going to be, the Bitcoin block reward will be worth 1 Bitcoin, and the transaction fees are likely going to be more than 1 Bitcoin. So as the block reward goes down, the transaction fees will go up. So the miners will be securing the network and keeping everything secure with even more hash power than they have right now. So this trend to be more and more secure will be even greater. And people just speculate, and they're like, oh, in 100 years there's going to be no reason to mine. Well, no, it seems the opposite. It seems like the reward to mine will be even greater. So it looks like Bitcoin is going to be very healthy and just fine in the next 50 years in the halvings, which is remarkable. It's just remarkable. And the fact that it's happening now, when Bitcoin is becoming more scarce and the price has gone up, it seems like a stroke of genius of Satoshi. The way he designed the equilibriums and the balance of the shift from mining rewards to transaction fees, it just seems like a God move, Anyway, I just wanted to share that. And this channel is about making things simple that people seem to make complex, especially financial things, and especially cryptocurrency and the financial system. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comments about your idea of when you think it's going to the block rewards will equal the transaction fees, or if you agree with what I said about the halving and all these things. Anyway, have a good day. God bless you.